Bruce, you must have something really good too.
Of course I do. It's Bruce Danielson, and I guess I'm here to entertain you too.
It is 2 o'clock Central Time in Sioux Falls. This meeting of the Sioux Falls Board of Ethics on Friday, June 19th is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Jack Marsh.
Here.
Sue Rouse. Here. Dan Fritz.
Here.
Juan Harris. Here. Greg LaFollette.
All right. Quorum being present, we will proceed. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from April 30th, which have been posted to the public and are available on the back table for inspection. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the June 30th meeting?
April 30th.
I'm sorry, April 30th. Second. Any changes or corrections? All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Approved 5-0. We'll move now to the public input portion, and we would we'll limit public input to 5 minutes per person. Just a reminder, we are not taking testimony on any past, pending, or potential future cases. This is simply a time for us to hear from the public, and there's a 5-minute time limit. We would ask any members of the public to come forward and identify themselves, and if you are a resident of the city of Sioux Falls, we welcome your comments.
I'm Bruce Danielson. I am a longtime resident of Sioux Falls. I've been before this body multiple times in multiple situations. You're probably getting tired of seeing me, but that being what it may, what I've noticed in all these years I've been doing this, and this is now 6 years I've been coming here and doing these meetings. I've missed very few of them since then. And I keep seeing a habit of not only this body, but the city as a whole, and it's getting worse, of going into executive sessions to discuss contractual matters that aren't contractual matters, but they're methods of designing some kind of programs to take away citizen rights. They have done secret meetings to have contract discussions that aren't in litigation. They aren't secret contracting, but more they've been issues of campaign designing marketing programs in order to do things. I was at a previous meeting with an executive session that should have been open on that particular council member a few years back, that should have been open to the public so that they could see how this body works. The previous meeting that was held here in this room was another one of those sessions where this body was discussing information that was already public information, and then it became very public information afterwards when the person admitted that he was the accused in the matter, and that for some reason it had been delayed 60 days to just shy of the 60 days required to do this in order to get around what appeared to be some campaign issues. You people had a session here where you were able to have a secret meeting to disguise the fact that you were making a decision in that secret meeting to come out of the meeting, the executive session, and vote on something that should have been out in the public. I don't know what's going on here today for sure, because we don't really have all the information. But if it's another one of the meetings where you're going to have a meeting to decide not to have a vote in public, or a decision in another matter with an employee, council member, the mayor, whoever this one is, you're violating the law. Now, if you remember in the previous discussions we've had here, and I've used Mr. LaFollette's phrasing in this multiple times, the law is down here, Ethics is up here. This body is not a legal body. You shouldn't care one bit about whether it's legal or not in this room, in your decision. Nothing in your decisions is a legal matter. You're not a judge, you're not a jury, anything. You're not in here under that guise. You're here as the ethical leaders of this community to make decisions on ethics. Mr. LaFollette has spent years teaching ethics around the country. I know some of you here have been very involved in the ethics world. You're attorneys, you're professionals that hold to standards. And what we're seeing as a public, this body is not holding the citizens' rights to ethics coming from this body. The law is down here. You guys shouldn't care at all about the law. That's for a judge and a jury down the street here a couple of blocks. Your job here is ethics. And if you can't do ethics in the way that it needs to be done, then we need to do something about removing even your jobs as ethics leaders in this community and get rid of the ethics board. Why even have the charade of having an ethics board? This is getting to be very important to a lot of people in this community. We started an effort here in this town a year ago to start redoing the charter. And we will probably move on and make some changes to the charter, and one of them will be the responsibility of this board. Because we're getting tired of this board not deciding ethics. Your job is not law. Your job is ethics. And please remember that, because it's getting very important to us. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to address this board? All right. I think the city attorney wishes to be heard.
Are we moving on to item four?
Item 4.
All right. Yeah, I would just address the board and inform it that complaint 20B involves an official of the city of Sioux Falls, which has resulted in my recusal from further proceedings.
Very good. Step down then, please. It is by statute, we are able to retain our own independent counsel. We always want to be represented by counsel. So this is a recommendation of the chair that we retain Alan Peterson as our counsel as we address the forthcoming matter. Would someone make a motion to that effect, please? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Approved 5-0. Mr. Peterson, would you come and join us on the table, please?
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson, thank you for helping us, guiding us through this process. We want to be respectful of state statute as well as local ordinance and city charter as we handle this matter. And would you please explain how we may proceed on this matter? And then, for the sake of the public, what is open for public inspection and what is not?
There is an ethics complaint that has been filed under the ordinances of the city of Sioux Falls. The complaint and any proceeding dealing with that complaint is to remain confidential until the time, if there is a finding of probable cause, that probable cause is reported to the city council, at which time the city council assumes jurisdiction of the matter, takes the matter over from this board. There is not a direct conflict, but at least an issue that we always deal with, and that South Dakota state law, SDCL 1-25-2, talks about closed meetings in executive sessions. There are two relevant exceptions that I think apply to the situation. One is that if the board is discussing the qualifications, performance, character of a public official, you may enter into an executive session and close the matter. Secondly, not as relevant to this particular proceeding, if you are consulting with the attorney for legal advice, you may also enter into an executive session for that purpose. So my understanding is that in order to address the complaint that does examine the performance and character of a public officer, the board should move into executive session.
And at what point is any decision of ours to be made in public or revealed to the public?
The actual decision that is made is to be made in public proceeding and revealed at that time to the public.
Now, is it not true that by city code, all ethics complaints are confidential unless waived by the accused?
That is correct.
And in this particular case, it's not been waived, so it is confidential just by operation of law.
That is correct.
So this time it would be appropriate for us to consider a motion to move into closed executive session.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
And now you want to again cite the statute that covers this?
SDCL 621-25-2, particular subsections 1 and potential.
For the sake of the public now,
May I just make an announcement about
Yeah,
that? Chairman and I were talking earlier, the likelihood of any public decision being made today is very minimal. So we are just suggesting that if you'd like to leave your name and a phone number, if the proceeding gets to the point there is going to be a public decision, an announcement made, we'd be glad to give you a phone call in 10 or 15 minutes to get back here if you'd like to be here for that. But I don't want to have you sit around for 3 hours waiting for nothing more than the board adjourning and continuing the proceedings later, depending on the scope of information that they might be addressing.
so if any member of the public wants to receive that notice, were we to come out of executive session and take a public action, just leave your name and phone number with Bob Moneyhome, our clerk, and we will be sure that you probably allow at least 15 minutes notice for the public to then come back in here. So we will take about a 2-minute pause here. So if anybody wants to register there, fine. Otherwise, this room will be closed. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a vote on the motion. All in favor of the motions to move into executive session, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Approved, 5-0.